Update for you from Tigray Afar border. Are Tigray fighters still in the Afar region? They controlled six villages in the Afar region around 2 weeks ago. Then the Ethiopian Air Force conducted a drone strike on Tigray military. Updates coming in from afar show that situation is still tense on Tigray Afar border. Secondly, two fronts were very active in the last 3 to 4 days in the Amhara region in the ongoing clash between Fano militias and the Ethiopian National Defense Force. One of these fronts is located close to ENDF's headquarters, established recently there. Welcome to my views and news. Thanks for watching. Firstly, Amhara region of Ethiopia, where two fronts have been very busy in the last 3 to 4 days. Heavy fighting ongoing there. Both are very strategic fronts. First front, which has been active, is North Gondar front. In Gondar, you know that Amhara Fano National Force and Amhara Fano People's Organization are conducting joint attacks on the Ethiopian National Defense Force. It was relatively calm in North Gondar when AFNF and AFPO had not formed an alliance. After Fano groups saw their differences, North Gondar Fano became active. For the last 3 days, heavy clashes have been ongoing between Fano and military in the Bath. The Bath, is a district situated on Gondar to Adarkai Road. In Janora, in Ajare, the fighting erupted. Massafent led Fano group is based in this area, reportedly. So Gondar to Adarkai Road has been blocked for the most part of the last 3 to 4 days, reportedly. Fano group say they have inflicted heavy losses on the Ethiopian National Defense Force. Close to the Bath is the Bark. To the north of the Bath is the Bark, and the Bark is being used by Ethiopian military for its operations, for its deployment towards Takazet, towards Tigray border. There is heavy deployment of ENDF around the Bark and the Bath. Second front, which has been very active in the last 3 to 4 days, is Kobo front. Kobo to Iyub Road. Iyub is between Kobo and Alamata. Kobo to Iyub Road, Iyub to Moja Kolmesk Road has been active. Fighting has been ongoing there. You know that this area is the stronghold of Fano. They inflicted losses on military here. Military has launched several offensives in this area to clear this area. But still, situation is very volatile here. Both sides are claiming that they are making gains, another side is suffering losses. Situation volatile. I would say situation is volatile in this area. Secondly, viewers, Ethiopian sources, government sources of the Afar region have shared some updates about the situation on Tigray Afar border. You know what happened 2 weeks ago in Magale Wareda of the Afar region. Around 2 weeks ago, hundreds of Tigray fighters crossed Tigray Afar border and entered Tonsa Kabale, Magale Wareda of the Afar region. Tigray military attacked the bases, the camps of Tigray Peace Force, which is an anti-TPLF, anti-TDF armed group being organized on Afar soil by Ethiopian federal government, Ethiopian National Defense Force. Tigray military took control of TPF's camps. TPF fighters, they just fled. Uh, Thousands of people were displaced from Magale, and Tigray military captured TPF's weapons at night when Tigray military was making preparations to transport captured weapons to Tigray from afar. A drone strike was conducted on Tigray fighters. 16 soldiers were killed, according to AFP. 16 Tigray soldiers were killed, and dozens of others were injured. Tigray government issued statements. They only said that the Ethiopian Air Force conducted a drone strike on Tigray soldiers on Tigray soil. They said they rather denied entry into Afar. But neutral sources have confirmed too that Tigray military did enter the Afar region. It seized TPF camps, then it had to retreat. But Afar regional government officials say that Tigray fighters have not fully withdrawn. Magale Wareda chief and other Wareda officials talked to a news source yesterday, and they have shared an update. They said 2 weeks ago, when Tigray military entered Afar region, it entered Magale Wareda, Tonsa Kabale. 6 villages were controlled by Tigray military: Milki, Varia, Mila, uh, Grafeto, Kasobera, and Karamuaga. All the 6 villages are in Tonsa Kabale. The Donsaik also happened in Tonsa Kabale. Since Tigray military entered the 6 villages and opened fire at TPF, locals were scared. They started fleeing, and I think around 20,000, over 20,000 people were displaced, including women, children, from Tonsa Kabale and Magale Voreda. Magale Voreda chief says that Tigray forces are still firing into Afar territories. Tigray military is still using heavy weapons. Tigray military fighters are still in Magale, in Tonsa Kabale. Other Magale Varad officials confirmed that too. They say that Tigray military has not fully withdrawn from Tonsa, and they say that half of Tonsa is under Tigray military control. So Milki, Varia, Mila, Grafeto, Kasobara, and Kramuaga are not fully free. People are not returning. Some displaced people were interviewed by a news source, and they say that they have received support so far. They're on their own, and that what they have learned from their home area is that Tigray military is still there. That Tigray military still fires at those places. It's not safe for them to return to their homes in Tonsa. Thousands are still displaced. 2 weeks have passed. And whenever people are displaced in the origin, they suffer a lot because it's difficult to reach the people, keeping in with the poor roads infrastructure. During Tigray War, too, we saw that Afar displaced people received uh, limited support from humanitarian organizations. Now, Tigray government denied entry into Afar, so we're not expecting a confirmation of this report from Tigray side. I think Tigray military is trying to ensure that TPLF does not re-establish its military camps on Afar Tigray border. That is why Tigray military is keeping its presence continuing in the Afar region, but Afars won't tolerate it. I think ultimately you will see Afar militias, Afar regional forces involved. They will carry out attacks either on Tigray military in Ponsa Kable, or they can enter Tigray. They can enter other parts of southern Tigray. That will happen. Afars won't tolerate TDF's presence in the Afar region. Thanks for watching.